characters, and they appear pyramidical or conical in shape due to this radial branching. Radial branching here in this sense, we can see the branches of older one towards the base and the younger ones at the top. This is called as the radial branching. And the dominant phase, that is the plant body, is described as a sporophyte, as it is going to develop the sporangia or the sporophylls, and the plant is completely differentiated in the stem, root, as well as the leaves. Now, when we talk about the morphological characters of the root, so the plant, the root is called as the taproot system, and which does not grow very deep into the soil, whereas we see the root hairs, which are scanty and found in very young roots. We can see an autotrophic mycorrhizal association, which is believed to be the symbiotic. And the fungus will, as the mycorrhizal fungi, that means the mycelium that the fungi is staying along with the roots of this Pinus plant, resulting in the symbiotic association, what we call it as mycorrhizal roots. And this fungus, it helps the roots in the absorption of the nutrients, and also it protects them from the pathogens. Next, the primary root here, we call it as taproot. So this we have already done. Next, when we talk about the stem is very tall. It is erect with a cylindrical woody and branched stem. And the apical growth, it occurs by a large apical bud. The apical meristems, which are located in the tip of the stem, that through that the apical growth occurs. And the branches, they arise laterally and spirally from the axils of the leaves. And these branches, they are of dimorphic. This pinus shows a dimorphic branching, that is presence of two different types of branches. One of the branch here, we call it as branches of unlimited growth, and the branches of the limited growth. So when we talk about the branches of unlimited growth, here the name itself implies unlimited, that is the branches which grow to a unlimited period. Okay, there is no restriction for the growth of these branches. They keep on growing. These are called as long shoots, and these branches, they are arranged spirally. Okay, they are arranged spirally, that is around the main trunk that will be arranged. And on these branches, we can see the presence of the scaly leaves. And the another type of branches here, we call it as branches of the limited growth. And these branches, they are restricted, that is limited, that is the growth of these branches is restricted. They grow only to a certain size, and then they stop growing. So this is due to the lack of the apical bud, and they grow for a shorter period of time. So such shoots are called dwarf shoot. The branches of limited growth, these shoots are referred to as dwarf shoots. And each dwarf shoot, it possesses only 8 to 10 spirally arranged leaves on them. So as it is only here, very short shoot, that is the reason why only less number of leaves are developed on it. So this is about the dimorphic branching observed in the pinus. So this is this can be expected like a question for you in the exam. What type of branching you observed in the pinus? Monomorphic branching, dimorphic, trimorphic, or none of the above? The answer will be the dimorphic branching, that is the branches of limited growth and the branches of the unlimited growth. Next comes to the leaves. Yeah. Yeah.
How it will come dimorphic, ma'am?
I'm asking the branching of pinus, or which type of branching is observed in pinus stem. I repeat, which type of branching is observed in pinus stem? The options may be like this: monopodial branching, dimorphic branching, trimorphic, or none of the above. Am I clear?
Dimorphic only, ma'am.
Yeah, it will be dimorphic branching. What does it mean?
How is it out, ma'am?
Dimorphic means two. Di means two. We can see two types of branches.
Okay.
Yeah, branches of unlimited
Okay,
and branches of limited. Now we are, yeah,
okay.
next moving on to the leaves. Now here also we can see the presence of two types of leaves. So that is also called as dimorphic leaves. What are those two types of leaves we can see? One is called as scale leaves and another one is called as the foliage leaves. Now what are scale leaves? Now these are the leaves which are developed. Where they are developed, you can see here. Where are these scale leaves are developed?
Branches of unlimited growth and limited growth.
Only on unlimited growth. I have shown you here. Just I'm pointing you here. I'm taking a pen so you can see here. The branches bears the scale leaves. What are those branches? Here, these are the branches of unlimited growth. Okay, these branches, they bear the scale leaves. Okay, so these scale leaves, they are very thin, very brown in color, flattened and minute. Okay, so look into this here. These leaves, they are born on the long shoots. It's not shorts, it is long shoots. And as well as on the dwarf shoots, but basically they develop on the long shoots. And what is the main function of these scale leaves means? Here, these are very thin and they are brown in color. Generally, leaves means what? Generally, leaves are what? They will be greenish in color. Yes? And they perform photosynthesis. But here, I'm calling them as scale leaves. That is, these are called as the reduced leaves. That doesn't have a lamina. Generally, the leaf has an expanded lamina, right? So due to that, they perform photosynthesis and presence of chlorophyll. So here, these leaves, they are not like that. They are very thin and flattened and brown in color. They does not perform any photosynthesis. So I'm showing, I'm just writing here. Yeah, I'm highlighting here. You can see this point. They are not photosynthetic. Okay, then what is their function? So their function is to protect the young buds. Now, next another types of leaves. Then if these leaves are not performing any photosynthesis, then how the plant is surviving? It has to prepare its own food material, right? Yes or no? Then that function, yeah, then that function is taken up by the foliage leaves. Now, these are the leaves which are born only on dwarf shoots. Okay, these are the one which are born only on the dwarf shoot. So you people need to remember this point. I repeat this once again. In Pinus, scale leaves are developed on both the types of shoots, that is branches of unlimited growth as well as branches of limited growth. Whereas foliage leaves, they are developed only on the dwarf shoot, or we can call it as the branches of limited growth. And these foliage leaves, they are long and needle-like structures and they are generally green in color, which perform the photosynthesis. Am I clear up to this point, all of you? Right. Next, we are moving. Yes, Naina, what's your question?
Ma'am, once explain foliage leaves, ma'am.
I didn't get you.
Once explain foliage leaves, ma'am.
Foliage leaves? Foliage leaves are what?
Explain, no, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm explaining. Foliage leaves are the one which are generally green in color and they are long and needle-like structures which are borne on the dwarf shoots. So just I'll show you the diagram here. So suppose this is a branch. Okay, this is a dwarf shoot. So on this dwarf shoot, you can see the lines. Okay,
ma'am.
these are the lines. Can you see that? So these are called as the foliage leaves.
Okay, ma'am.
Fine, right. Now, next we are moving on to the reproduction point of view. So when I talk about the reproduction, the pinus plants are heterosporous. That means they are going to produce two different type of spores. And these spores, where they are produced, microspores are the one which are developed in the microsporangia on the male cone, and the megasporangia, megaspores, they are developed on the megasporangia and born on the female cone. And one more point I want to tell you here is the pinus plant is an unisexual plant. That means the male plant is different from female plant. Male and female plants both are different. Male plants will produce male cones and the female plants will produce female cone. Okay. That means to say male plant will develop microsporophylls. So you can see here the diagram. This is a male plant. So I'm just pointing here. This is a male plant. Male plant is developing microsporophylls. And on each microsporophyll, you can see the development of microsporangia. And these microsporangia, they produce microspores. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So when I describe about the structure of the male cone, now the male cone, it is also known as male strobili also. Male cone, it may develop, it is also known as male strobili. And these male strobilus, they develop in the month of March to April. And in the hills, and January in the plains of the hills. Now, these male cones, you can see here, they arise on the branch of unlimited growth. That is, male cones are developed on the long branches or the branches of unlimited growth. And this male cone, so this is complete picture of the male cone here. You can see this is a central axis or the cone axis. And each one, this is the microsporophyll and this one is the sporangia. So here this is a sporangia. Just I'm rounding off, you can see here. This one is a microsporangia and inside the microsporangia, you can see these are the microspores. Okay, nice. This male cone, it is small or ovoid in structure and the length of this is 2 to 4 centimeters and 5 to 6 centimeters in diameter, and it is pale in color, pale yellow in color. Now, when you talk about the microsporangia, so regarding this, okay, regarding this microsporangia, so this microsporangia is very small, sessile, that is sporangia does not have any stalk and having an elongated sac. So this microsporangium, it is of pale brown in color, and upon maturation, the spores, it is filled with spore sac, and spore sacs will produce the pollen grains, or we call them as the microspores. Now, at the time of favorable conditions, each microsporangium, okay, it is going to have a longitudinal line, and the sporangium will crack at that particular line, and a large number of the pollen grains are released into the air. So this spores, as they are yellow in color, it appears like a shower of sulfur dust. So sulfur generally it will be yellowish in color. Okay. So when the plant, this microsporangium, if it breaks, all the pollen grains from that microsporangium, they'll be just spread into the air in the form of the yellow color, a shower of yellow color. We call it as a dust. So in the Himalayan pine forest. Now these pollen grains, they are generally released in the months of March to the beginning of the June and travel long distances. Okay, they travel long distances and the dry cone fall off from the trees. So this is how the microsporangium gets or released their male spores, that is a microspores. Now this is about the female cone here. Okay, so this is the female cone. Now the female cones of the pinus, they are also called as ovulate strobili. Now why we are calling it as ovulate strobili? Because they are the one which are going to enclose the ovule, or we call it as the female gamete. Now, so these female cones, they appear in the months of February in the plains and in the month of May in the hilly regions. Now, another important point here is female cone, they arises in the place of dwarf shoot. Okay, female plant is developing these female cones or the female strobili where they are developing on the dwarf shoot. Remember this point. Whereas the male cones, they were developed on the male plant and on the long shoot, that is on the branches of unlimited growth. Okay, this points to be noted, girls. Now, each female cone, it takes around 3 years to get mature and set the seeds. Now, in the first year, the cones are comparatively small, they are compact and reddish green in color. So when they move on to the second year, the cones becomes comparatively larger in size and they become slightly woody in nature. They become very hard and tough. And in the third year, the cones becomes so this is a mature cone, you can see here. Okay, they are very large and woody in nature. And at the end of the third year, it will develop the seeds. And when we talk about the size of this female cone, it is elongated, it is cylindrical in shape and about 15 to 20 centimeters long. Okay, so these are the features of the female cone. Now, so when you take the transverse section of the female cone, it appears like this. So we all, it is also called as megasporophyll. Now, how is this megasporophyll here? It is going to have a central axis, just like the male cone. And these are the leaves. Okay, we call them as the megasporophylls. And each megasporophyll here, it is going to consist of the ovules. Okay, ovipolar scale or the ovule. Now, so each megasporophyll here, these are the megasporophyll. It is differentiated into ovuliferous scale or bract scale. Okay, so you can see here, this is the bract scale. Okay, so it is the lower part of the megasporophyll and they are very small, dry and membranous structures. And the then this is the ovuliferous scale here. This ovuliferous scale is the upper part of the megasporophyll and it is going to develop the ovules. And how are these ovuliferous scales? They are very thick, woody and brownish in color. Now, so as I told you that the megasporophyll, which is developed on the ovuliferous scale, they are developing the ovule. Okay, so the mature, this is the ovules which are going to develop on the ovuliferous scale. And each ovule, it is oval in shape. You can see here the structure of the ovule. So each ovule is oval in shape and it is laterally attached to the upper surface of the ovuliferous scale. And the central part of this ovule, complete central part of the ovule is called as nucellus. So this is another important point. It contains a nucellus, and nucellus here, this is a fertile part of the ovule, which we call it as nucellus, and it is going to be surrounded by a protective covering, which is called as the integument. So already in the general characters, I told you that the ovules of the gymnospermic plants, the ovule is of only a single integument. So we call it as unitegmic ovules. So whereas in angiosperms, we can see the presence of two integuments in the ovule. Okay, in the angiosperms, in the higher plant. So this point is also an important point. The ovules of gymnosperms are covered by single integument, two integuments, both or none. So the answer will be, it is only of a single integument, unitegmic ovule, we call it as. Now, so the mature ovule of the Pinus, it is oval in shape and all this I told you. And at the time of maturity, the cells of the nucellus. So this is at the time of development of this, we can say it as the cells of these nucellus surrounding the female gametophyte differentiate to form 2 to 3 layers of the nutritive tissue called a spongy layer. Okay. Now, it is haploid at the micropylar end. So this is a micropylar region. At this micropylar end, this nucellus will bear, or it produces two archegonia. Okay, these are the two archegonia which are developed in the nucellar region towards the micropylar end. And as each archegonia, it consists of 8 neck cells which are arranged in 2 layers, and the neck canal cells are going to be absent. And at the venter, you can see the development of an egg. That is a female gamete. So this is another important point to be noted here. Pinus ovule developed on the dwarf shoot, and this Pinus ovule, it is the present on the ovuliferous scale of the megasporophyll. Next, it is a unitegmic and it produces 2 archegonia. There are 2 archegonia at the micropylar end. No neck canal cells. Neck canal cells are absent. So this is another important point to be noted. In Pinus, the number of neck canal cells, they are 0. Number of archegonia, 2 archegonia. They form 2 archegonia. Okay. Next, when I talk about the fertilization, so fertilization here occurs about 12 to 14 months after the pollination. That is from the microsporophyll, that is from the male cone. By the breaking of the microsporangia, all the microspores, they are released into the air. Okay. Now, that is these pollen grains or these microspores, what they'll do, they will reach the female cone, and where the female cones are having what? The ovules. Okay. On the ovuliferous scale, we can see the presence of the ovule. So when they fall on the micropyle of the ovule, they will wait there only for 12 to 14 months. Okay, they immediately not getting fertilized. They'll there on the ovule for 12 to 14 months. Next, after these mature male gametophyte, that is the microspores, they develops a long pollen tube Okay, they develops at the time of germination, they develops a long pollen tube, and these pollen tube, they carry the male gamete, which are called as the non-flagellated. That is, they are not motile. They are non-flagellated. They are not motile. They are non-motile. Okay, male gametes. And these tubes, it acts as a carrier of the gamete. Now, after reaching the apex of the female gametophyte, the tube will enter into the, you can see here, this is a pollen tube which is developed. I'm showing you here the diagram. Okay, this is a pollen tube which is developed. Where is the egg nucleus? This is inside the ovule. We can see the presence of the egg nucleus. Now, so the male gametophyte will develop the pollen tube. Through this pollen tube, this is the male gamete, we call it as. This male gamete, it will enter into the ovule. And these male gametes, as it is non-motile, they show an amoeboid movement. Okay, they will be just sliding and gliding like this round and round, and they will reach the female egg nucleus, that is a female gamete, and it will fertilize with the egg and develops into the zygote. Now, the haploid nucleus of the male gamete, the haploid number of this Pinus gamete, it is 12, and the haploid nucleus of the egg, it is also 12. It will both will fertilize and forms a diploid zygote with a chromosome number of 24. So that's okay. Now the zygote, it is going to act as the, so see here, this is the egg cell, and here this is the male gamete. Okay, through this pollen tube, the male gamete, and this is through the opening, what we call it as the micropyle of this large ovule. They'll release this male gamete into the ovule and fertilization happens. And the zygote acts as a first cell of the sporophytic generation. Now the sporophyte, it will germinate and forms into the adult plant, the Pinus again. Now when I talk about the economic importance here, already in the economic importance, I told you a few points. The Pinus, generally they are cultivated or they are grown as a ornamental plants in some gardens and the parks, and the wood of these Pinus are used as a fuel. And I also told you that the seeds are of Pinus grigardiana. They are used as a dry fruit, and the resins and the varnish which is coming from the resins which are coming from the Pinus plant, they are used in the varnish making, okay, or it is used as an enamel or for the preparation of soap, paints, etc. And main importance of the Pinus is it is of the timber. It is of a timber yielding plant. Okay, the wood of the Pinus, we call it as a pycnoxylic wood. It provides a valuable timber for building and the construction process. Okay, so this is about the economic importance of the Pinus. So you can look into this here. These are all are the Pinus plants. Look into the plant, how long it is, how tall it is. Okay, so this is a long wood. Okay, what we can, they are cut down for the purpose of either of a timber value or for the secretion of their oils and resins from this, and also for the seeds. For the seeds also, the trees are being cut down and they are being manufactured. So this is the life cycle of the Pinus. So this is the first one we are discussing. This is a sporophytic plant, the tall plant. Okay. Now I told you that it is a unisexual plant. So male plant is different from the female plant. So the male plant here, okay, it will develop the megasporophylls, megasporangia, and the ovules. And this is the male plant which will develop the microsporangia, the microsporophyll, and the male cone. Okay. Now what does this ovule? This is the ovule which consists of the female gamete. Now the microsporangia, what are they? It is doing? The microsporangia will release the microspores. These are the one which are also called as pollen grains. These are the one which are going to consist of the male gametes. Okay, these microspores, they are carrying the male gamete, whereas the megasporangium, it's going to consist of this ovule. Okay, the ovule found to be attached to the female cone on the ovuliferous scale. Now I told you that the ovule of this going to consist of the two archegonia, what I'm calling it as a megagametophyte, towards the micropylar end. Now, when these these microspores at the time of pollination, they fall on this ovule. Okay, they fall on the ovule, and after maturity, these pollen grains or these microspores, they develop the pollen tube. You can see here. This is the ovule structure, and we can see here there's the micropylar end. On the micropylar end, you can see this is a pollen grain or the microspore, which is developing the pollen tube. Now, this pollen tube, it will enter into the nucellar region where there is archegonia, and this archegonia, it consists of the egg inside that. Okay. Now, the pollen tube will migrate into the anther, that is a venter, where there is, can see the presence of the egg. So that we call it as fertilization. So we can see here the fertilization happens. The male gamete will fuses with the egg cell which is there inside the archegonia and develops into the zygote. Okay. Now the zygote, the entire ovule now, it will get transforms into the, it will get transforms into a seed. So this is a seed. We can look into this here. Now this seed, so as we can see here, there are two archegonia. So the two zygotes are going to be developed inside the seed, and they will develop either into a male plant or a female plant. So this is about the life cycle of the Pinus plant. I hope I'm stopped sharing here. I hope this is clear for you all.
Yes, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, I hope there are no doubts in this Pinus life cycle.
No, ma'am. No doubts, ma'am.
So the more important points here in the Pinus is regarding the ovule structure. Okay. How is the ovule? It is unitegmic. And how many number of archegonia are there in the ovule? And how many number of branches you can see on the stem? And one more point is economic importance. So these are the points to be remembered in this Pinus type study. I hope this is clear, sir. Anything points to be explained?
Okay, Maria, Mahavin, Ruchita, Naina, Nafis Sultana. Is there any doubt?
Sir, I asked already, sir. I have no more doubts, sir.
Okay, very good. So this is most important to my dear friends. Madam has clearly explained about the entire morphology of the Pinus, classification and anatomy, structures, reproduction, especially male cones and female cone structures, and the life cycle, entire life cycle of the Pinus. Madam has clearly explained. So thank you very much, madam. This
Okay,
night,
sir.
this night have given a valuable time for our students, our
Okay.
CPGET aspirants. Definitely, they will show their ability. And very soon, you are going to attend CPGET 2024, my dear friends. So don't waste your valuable time. Madam, thank you very much. Tomorrow we will meet.
Tomorrow we'll have with a NEETM type study.
Okay. Same time, madam, evening?
I'll tell you, sir, depending upon my college schedule.
We will inform in the WhatsApp group also, my dear friends.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.